What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today in this video we're going to be going over the science of overtraining. We're going to be watching a video by Jeff Nippard analyzing how overtraining can negatively impact your training regimen and how it can ruin your gains. If you guys haven't checked out my last video with where I looked over Jeff Nippard's 1 year transformation during his perfect year of training as an experienced lifter, I recommend you guys go check that out. And it's one of the more recent videos I've posted, so I recommend you guys go check that out. And without further ado, let's get into the video.
Okay guys, so here we are. We're going to be going and analyzing this video. Here in this video, I said definitely it's going to be explaining overtraining, what effects it has. So yeah, let's get into the video.
Is overtraining something we need to worry about? How do you know if you're overtraining? Does overtraining even exist? Well, a search on PubMed gets you 869 results. So yeah, overtraining is definitely a real thing, and there's a lot to cover, but most of these studies are on highly elite athletes competing in track and field sports, not bodybuilders, and much less guys just looking to pack on some mass. And a lot of them are talking about overtraining syndrome, a clinical condition with a list of symptoms making continued progress difficult. I think true overtraining is overrated. Yeah, it definitely exists, but I think that most people who are really worried about it probably shouldn't be. And I think that people seeking maximum results would benefit to push just a little harder. But before I get into that, let's lay out a quick definition. Overtraining is when there's an imbalance between training and recovery that leads to a decrement in performance that lasts more than 2 to 3 weeks. If you've been pushing hard in the gym and notice yourself feeling a little more tired, sore, and irritable, it's possible that you're simply overreached, not overtrained. The difference is important. Overreaching can be thought of as a shorter, less severe version of overtraining, and the key is to notice it early enough, before that 2 to 3 week mark, and emphasize recovery so you can take advantage of a phenomenon known as supercompensation, where in response to the demanding, overreaching stimulus, the body adapts more strongly, leading to even better performance and even more.
It's pretty much just hypertrophy right there.
Leads to a long-term drop in performance, a loss of gains. Functional overreaching leads to a short-term drop in performance with a long-term increase in gains.
Exactly.
So the question is, how much training can you get away with without overtraining? In his landmark 2010 review, Dr. Brad Schoenfeld states that overtraining is more a result of excessive volume than intensity. But that doesn't mean that overdoing intensity is a good idea either. A study from Fry and colleagues showed that when weight-trained men performed a 1-rep max machine squat 6 days per week for 2 weeks, their 1-rep max strength actually dropped by 12%. And recent data has suggested that even though volume matched 3 sets of 10 and 7 sets of 3 caused the same hypertrophy, the heavier group experienced more fatigue. So unless you're training specifically for strength, keep loads more moderate, mostly in the 6 to 12 rep range for maximum muscle gain.
This goes against what I saw from Andrew Huberman in one of his videos, but I feel like Jeff Nippard's onto something with what he's saying.
You might need more volume for progress, so you'll have to titrate in more workload as you assess
your recovery. Those words don't get covered by my face cam anymore.
Well, there are a few practical things you can do. The most obvious is a simple 4-question self-survey. How is your sleep? How are your energy levels? Are your muscle and joint aches worse than usual? And finally, how is your strength in the gym? If you answer the questions,
I'd say sleep and strength in the gym are the most important. The other two can vary from things besides training.
Sometimes, so you can use heart rate variability, or HRV, as a more objective measure. HRV simply refers to the time interval between heart beats. It's used to predict cardiopathies in medicine.
Wristwatch that measures it. There's a lot of intelligent wristwatches that measure it. I have an Apple Watch to measure all that information.
You can simply measure average morning heart rate. Establish an average heart rate baseline for a week and track changes from normal. If you see a change of more than 10% or so, it's a sign you should reduce your training workload for a week or two. In other words, deload.
That could also still be for other reasons, like lack of sleep, to make your training harder.
It resensitizes the body to training again, leading to better results over the long term. To deload, you can cut training volume roughly in half.
Or not, whatever. Guys, I'm sorry. I just don't know where he's going to put the words next. I'm going to have to leave this here. Sometimes he puts words at the bottom, sometimes he puts them in the middle. He doesn't keep them in one place.
For a couple weeks. Of course, a full training break once in a while isn't a bad idea either, since you can give your connective tissues a full break without losing any progress.
Yes, a little break is necessary.
Found that a group that trained continuously
most people struggle to get to this type of
severe
training where they suffer injury.
Granted, I think most of this is applicable to more advanced trainees, having to overreach more regularly to make progress. Beginners should be able to progress
much more common in advanced
really
lifters than
overreach or
newbie lifters.
And overtraining
lifters usually
the
just
only
give
cause
up
of a stall, just not varying
before they feel any sort of stress
due to monotony. And sometimes you just need to push yourself a little bit harder to see the results you're looking for. In addition to changes to your training, it's important to look at other recovery factors like your sleep, diet, and lifestyle as well. I think the analogy of your body to a garden is enlightening. To quote strength coach Greg Knuckles, you fertilize it, tend the soil, uproot the weeds, water it, leave it in the sunlight, and give it the best conditions for growth. It will only grow as well as its circumstances allow.
What is going on, everyone?
Just want to quickly say thank you.
Goes with the phrase, your body's your temple.
Hope that you guys liked. I went with like a slightly different editing style on this one, more of like a glitch gamer style vibe.
Went all over the place.
Just enjoy making these videos and editing.
That's pretty much the end of the video for him, but I could kind of agree with pretty much everything he said. When we're going over to overtraining, it's typically only for more advanced lifters or newbie lifters that are really intense on getting quick gains, and then they overtrain for a week and then they just quit the next week. Because if you overtrain like that, you're not going to stay with the program if you feel like that's how you have to train every day. It's not like that. And there's some people who are like that, where they feel like they get huge results. They see famous people like this guy who not recently, but a while ago passed away. He was pretty famous, Rich Piana, and he had a 7-hour bicep routine or whatever, and he'd do arms for 7 hours straight apparently, and that would lead to severe injury. Some people do that crazy type of training, well, they really overdo it, and that leads to a lack of motivation, or motivation to stump. They can't keep up that type of effort for that type of distance, especially when you're a newbie lifter. But some lifters who've been training for a long time really push themselves. They get a bunch of caffeine. They take like 4 scoops of pre-workout, and they can injure themselves that way too. Also, with the 1 rep max, how their 1 rep max, the reason most likely went down in that experiment was probably because of muscle tissue damage. They didn't give time for the tissues to properly repair. Usually when you're doing a 1 rep max, you're using more fast twitch muscle fibers to take a long time to repair and get stronger, so when compared to slow twitch muscle fibers. So you really want to save your 1 rep maxes. Generally you don't want to be doing 1 rep maxes. 1 rep maxes are not good for you. Try to stick with a little bit more of a moderate rep range, usually anywhere from like, let's say 5 to 15. I try to stick between an 8 to 12 rep range for hypertrophy. If I'm trying to get more muscular strength, I'm going for an 8 to 5 rep range, 5 to 8 rep range. And sometimes I can overdo it a little bit and go up to 15, but it's not really overdoing it. It's perfectly fine. It's really good for hypertrophy, but I wouldn't go past 15 reps. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today, guys. That's the end of the video. I hope you like, subscribe, go check out Jeff Nippard. And this video is pretty good. I recommend you go watch it, watch all his stuff. So yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye bye.